You stand in the crowded launch area, shoulder to shoulder with so many others who, like you, have spent months and months working for this moment. Slowly, the hulking hull moves down the rails, sliding away from the crowd and into the water that begins to froth around its bow. The music and noise of the crowd seems to drift away as you watch transfixed until finally the ship slips free of the dry dock, and suddenly, with a roar from the crowd, your trance is broken. You look around at the other shipbuilders who, alongside you, made this moment possible. Now any lasting tension is gone and is replaced only with feelings of relief, of success, accomplishment, and pride. This is a story about culminations, about endings that are also new beginnings. Over the 3 years and 30 episodes that my team and I have been producing Beyond the Frame, and throughout my exploration of the works of art in our collection, I've been struck over and over again by the way that they affect me personally. I've always felt like works of art are like people, friends I get to learn about and share stories with. And in fact, this is one of my favorite things about art, the way that when we open ourselves up to these works, they open up to us, and how everyone's experiences with a single work of art can be so unique. Through my time spent with these paintings, so often I see reflections of my own life. This 1928 oil on canvas by Walter Green, titled Launching of the Virginia, is one in which I've found unexpected personal reflection through symbolism. But I'll come back to that at the end. In this work, though, the artist has placed us on the interior of a dry dock, Shipway 9 at Newport News Shipbuilding on August 18, 1928. It's a hot, sunny day, and the time is now approximately 11:22 a.m., just a minute or so after the 613-foot passenger liner began its launch. Our vantage point is slightly elevated above the crowd and fairly central in the dry dock. The warm rays of the August sun illuminate the new vessel, highlighting the American flag fluttering in the breeze, the strings of pennant flags, and even the ceremonial christening bottle, which still hangs from the bow. The massive ship is backed by a brilliant blue sky dappled with fluffy golden clouds. But the longer we look at this scene, the more we see. In the shadow of the dry dock, masses of people, seemingly silhouetted at first glance, begin to become more and more distinguishable. They line the ways and even peer down at the scene from the metal scaffolding high in the air. One man raises his hat in a cheer as 3 stand centered in the scene, watching intently in this moment of culmination. The painter Walter Green was the art director for General Electric in Schenectady, New York for 37 years, from 1903 until 1940. His works for the company capture scenes of industry from all across the country and sometimes the world. Because of the widespread business of General Electric, it's unlikely that Green was able to travel to many of these locations himself and capture compositions, so it's possible that he worked from photographs. As I searched the museum's archives to find supplemental images to help tell this story, I found this shockingly similar photograph. Though we are not yet able to confirm a link between this photograph and the painting, it nonetheless adds an eyewitness facet to the work. We know that the passenger ship Virginia was launched in 1928, but to think that this work was not just painted from a description, but perhaps from an eyewitness photograph of the scene, means that the painting possibly captures the real people who were there on that hot mid-August day. Emphasized by this narrative photograph, this painting tells the story of people, of shipbuilders who stand together on the momentous day that Virginia became the largest merchant vessel ever launched in the United States at that time. And that ship could not have existed without the dedication of every shipbuilder who stood in that dry dock, and without the support of their families and community around them. This is a story of culmination, of endings that are also new beginnings. This painting, this moment at approximately 11:22 a.m. on August 18, 1928 is not the end of Virginia's story. It is truly just the start. It was delivered to the Panama Pacific Service of the International Mercantile Marine Company just 3 short months later. It was refitted and renamed Brazil in 1938 and served as a troop ship during the Second World War. Its life on the water lasted for more than 30 years. As I mentioned, this work is one through which I found personal reflection. Because like this painting, this episode is also a story of endings that are new beginnings. There's exciting work underway at the Mariners, the beginning of our journey into our second century in 2030, wherein we're working to bring as much of our collection as possible out of storage and into areas where you can come and connect with it. These galleries are spaces where you can use these objects to tell your story, adding your voice to the global community of mariners and find connection through these objects. We'll be producing more videos and content to connect you with the collections we're bringing into the galleries, but I hope you'll come and stand with us, shoulder to shoulder as we build this new future, the second century of the Mariners, together. As we step forward into 2024, this will be the last regular episode of Beyond the Frame. But just like the launching of Virginia, this is a time of new beginnings. So for now, here's to new beginnings.
Until you see the ship float out of that dry dock, it's a static thing. But once you see it move, oh man, it's like, you know, hey, I had a piece of that. It's incredible amount of pride and respect. It's just phenomenal. I mean, it just swells you up, swells you up.
I look back at what I did then and what I do today with a sense of pride. You know, they crack the bottle, you hear the horns go off, and all of a sudden this huge mass of steel just starts sliding. And you know, I'm oblivious to anybody else around me at that point. You get this upwelling, like, I helped do that. I helped put that together.